What's an injury you sustained, and lied about how it actually happened, because it was too embarrassing? I once semi-dislocated my kneecap, in such a way that my leg locked up and I was in incredible pain, by sitting down to eat at the dinner table and twisting my leg somehow. I hurt myself sitting down. Instead I told my friends I had fallen down a steep hill on the local heathland, but my brother told them the truth and I was promptly mocked. I broke my toe running from a bee. I'm a huge weenie about stingy bugs, so when a bee got in my hair I freaked out. I ran toward the house, lost my balance, kicked the concrete step of Mom's porch and fell backwards. Mom was sitting on the porch and I accidentally backhanded her before crashing to the ground. She was laughing so hard she couldn't help me up, and I was laughing so hard I couldn't get up. I was super embarrassed for a while and just told everyone I tripped. I got over the shame because it was pretty fluffing funny, so I don't lie about it anymore. I was once buttering toast with my face really close to it. I like my butter to be spread precisely. Then I sneezed and slammed my head on the counter, effectively knocking myself out, and had to go to the ER to be treated for a concussion. I dislocated my kneecap while masturbating, lied and said I was falling off my bed when I woke up from a dream. I once fell out of bed and cracked my head open on a metal frame, blood everywhere, visit, stitches etc. I was about 6 years old. I still have the scar decades later. My mother literally changed our beds even though we really couldn't afford it to safer ones. The truth is, I didn't want to go to bed, so I flung myself out of bed to pretend to be hurt and maybe get to stay up for a short while longer. I was removing facial hair using a remover cream. I ended up leaving it on for too long, which caused burns. I told people I dropped hot noodles on my face. I got surgery a few years ago on my knees as I had dislodged some loose cartilage in the joint and also torn a bit of my meniscus. At the time I was playing a ton of ultimate frisbee, so I just told people it was that. It actually happened when I was getting up from a chair. I got a black eye as a kid. I slipped and fell into the support beam of my basketball rim. My dad made me lie to my other family members and say I got it defending some kids at school. He was pretty embarrassed at how terrible I was at basketball. Lol. Was getting hot and heavy with my boyfriend at the time. He reached under my shirt and unhooked my bra and then pulled my shirt and bra up over my head at the same time. As he did this, the underwire in my cheap butt bra popped out and left a huge scratch right across my forehead. I made up some story about digging through my closet looking for something and getting scratched by a hanger. I have a 1.5 stab wound scar on my left bicep. When I was younger and attractive girls asked me how it happened, I would tell them it happened during a fight where someone pulled a knife on me, and #X200B. Actually, I worked in a butcher shop of a market when I was in my late teens. Part of my job was to collect all the carving knives from the prep area, put into a large plastic bin, and carry them behind the deli case to the kitchen to wash. One time coming back out of the kitchen, I failed to notice that someone had opened the trap door to the basement in my direct path. While I was in the kitchen, the plastic bin obscured my view. I took one fateful step, opposite to the stairs side, and tumbled into the basement, with the contents of the bin raining down around me, and #X200B. Somehow I escaped with only a twisted ankle and the aforementioned stab wound in my arm, for which I had to go to the ER for stitches. I'll always remember being dazed, sitting at the bottom of the stairs looking up and seeing a meat cleaver embedded in one of the steps, and #X200B, and #X200B, edit. Thanks for all the replies, and the silver. To answer lot of you, yes, the truth is a far better story than the lie. I'm a middle-aged guy now, and I think that I old the knife fight alternative story way back then because it didn't really sink in that I could have died. I thought the truth made me out to be klutz. As a teen, that seemed like logic. As an adult, I know a lot better. Smiley face. I cut my thumb with an axe. The cut was almost to the bone. I never told anyone because I was told not to play with the axe. This is when I was 6 years old. Fully took off my nail while playing football, I said. Was playing sport, just an intense game of sword fighting on Wii Sport Resort, and slammed my hand really hard on a table. I have a scar that crossed my left eyebrow. It looks bad, and I made it during a fight against a man with a knife. At least that is what I tell everybody, because saying my PS2 fell on my face cause I tried to lift it while not paying attention may be too stupid. And #X200B, edit. I loved reading almost all the answers. Apparently the stupidity is a common affair. First time I experienced the fire inbox, and thanks for the gold, you kind stranger. My grandmother noticed a mark on my forehead. It was round and just under an inch in diameter. She asked me what happened. Without missing a beat, I straight up replied with, I burnt my head with my hair straightener. She grumbled that I should be more careful. What really happened, you ask? I got my head stuck between the back seat and back armrest of a car, resulting in a friction burn similar to carpet burn, while rooting, getting laid, banged, having sexual relations, in the back seat. Winking face, edit, clarification. I was in high school taking my morning shower. It was an older house and the shower was a tiled-in room with a glass door. Being the high school dork that I was, I thought it would be cool if I ninja elbowed the door open. The whole door spider-webbed and one little piece popped out, leaving me with a nice gash on my elbow. My hand slipped. The funny part was that about a week prior, my brother sliced his hand open in the same shower trying to open a bottle of shampoo with a pocket knife. Neither of us are too bright. Got drunk, fell on my face on pavement, said the huge gash on my forehead down to my cheek was from rugby. To be fair, it was during a rugby social. I once punched a bowling ball because I was frustrated. It turns out bowling balls are pretty hard. Broke my hand, it was swollen and bloody. Told my boss at work I slammed my hand in a door, it's still broken. This was like 6 months ago. I have these really ugly shoes that I wear around the house that my husband absolutely hates. I was taking laundry down the stairs and I fell down the stairs because of the shoes. I couldn't tell him that because then he will be correct that my shoes are stupid, so I told him that the dog ran between my legs and made me fall. Was drunk walking home at 4 a.m., crossed a few train tracks, and came across a 2-meter high fences with tiny cylinders on top. I make the jump because I think I can. I fall. After standing up, worrying about my back pain, I looked at my arm. My arm was completely torn open, covered in blood because it got stuck on the fence. I came into the nurse says she'd seen shark bites before in Australia, and this looked worse. I had 49 stitches, and now have a scar from a shark bite. Haha, edit, added the pictures for you all. Please be careful when opening them if you can't handle the explicit stuff and all. Pictures https://imager.com/a/uk6i closing parenthesis edit 2: and this was the kind of fence. https://imager.com/a/xblcase closing parenthesis edit 3: my arm now. Sorry for the flex and the clothes, but I'm working from home today too. My arm now. https://imager.com/a/gyrives closing parenthesis edit 4: thanks for the gold, kind stranger. I was jerking off, my hand slipped off and came crashing down onto the tip. Didn't hurt, but when I looked down, blood was squirting out, and not just a little blood, a lot of blood. I was wearing a white shirt. I told my family that I somehow managed to punch my slong by accident. Gives a whole new meaning to not my proudest fap, and #X200B, edit, for people asking, I didn't rip the skin, or the banjo cord or anything. It was just a blunt force I hit it with. Something inside just felt like it snapped, which sounds 1,000 times worse whilst I am typing this. Thankfully it came back to 100% working order a few days later, and have happily put it to use multiple times with no complaints. Lol, no problems have come from it, apart from the occasional PTSD and nightmares, but who cares about that. A scar across my forehead. I got it from hitting my head on a fan as a child, and it's still kind of there. I always just say that my cat scratched me and it went pretty deep, therefore the reason it's still there. I haven't exactly lied about it, but depending on who I'm talking to, I have been leaving out some important details. I got my wife an electric scooter for her birthday. The day she got it, we went out for a ride. I was on my electric skateboard. It had recently rained a bit, so the pavement was a little wet, but not too bad as long as you were careful. I got the idea to pretend to fart and get a speed boost from it. So I made a farting sound and totally gunned it. Since the pavement was darn, my board slid out from under me and I went down directly in front of my wife. She didn't have time to stop, so she also fell. We both got some scrapes and bruises. Unfortunately, she got it worse than I did. When telling the story, I've left out the fart boost part if it's someone I'm not really close to. Edit, hey, thanks for the silver. I've been waiting 25 years for this moment. As a 10-year-old boy, my friend had a mini hoop on his closet door in his room. We would always shoot the ball while playing Super Nintendo or whatever. One day we started shooting and then had a real one-on-one game, with dribbling, scorekeeping, etc. I went for a dunk and didn't realize the closet doorknob was missing and it was just jagged metal jutting out of the door. I remember looking down and seeing my shorts torn open and a bloody gash, and I was in shock. The cut was inches from my man parts. This was a close one. It wasn't bleeding a ton and I could see fat and other strange garbage. It was a couple inches long and I was a fluffing idiot 10 years old, so I got a bunch of bandages from his house and limped home. Neosporin and bandages for weeks until it healed. Never told my parents. Not sure why. I have a visible scar to this day. Not me but you, probably _ not that guy from another thread, very late to the party, but here we go, not me but my best friend in high school, for some reason or another thought that if he didn't poop eventually his body would just absorb, digest 100% of the turd matter and make it into energy. Admittedly for about the first 3 to 5 days it was a painful battle, but he was able to keep it all in him. After that the pains he was feeling sort of went away. Fast forward maybe a week or two, we go to Costco for lunch, buck-fifty hot dogs, and while we're at a table eating I see a look of agonizing pain go across his face. He said he has to go to the bathroom and that he'll meet me outside. Now this is when garbage gets real. He knew that at that moment his experiment had failed and that the time to release the poop was now. He got to a stall and started to push, except, it wasn't all coming out. It had started normal enough, but very quickly his coil grew in diameter and he couldn't push it past his rim anymore. He found out later that what had happened was that his poop had essentially dried up and hardened inside him, coning out and forming a reverse butt plug situation. Knowing that this wasn't going to come out on its own, he somehow managed to crab walk from the toilet to the sink, take the mirror off the wall, place it in the floor, squat over it, and for sanitary concerns, wrapped his hands to his elbows in toilet paper. At this point he assumed the position, grabbed on with both hands and with a violent push-pull technique, released the plug of pressure and everything else that was built up behind it and instantly passes out. This is where I re-enter the story. After almost an hour of waiting in a Costco parking lot I go to the customer service desk, inform them that my friend has been in the bathroom for a long time, and that maybe someone should check on him. I was greeted with a very odd look from an old lady at the counter who then followed me to the restroom with a set of keys. I then opened the door to see my best friend face down on a mirror, pant around his ankles, blood and garbage everywhere, with half of his arms wrapped up like a bad mummy costume on Halloween. Needless to say paramedics were called. He had a concussion from hitting the floor, and needed multiple stitches in the butt. Then he had to explain to his parents, doctors, Costco managers what happened, and why he thought not pooping was a good idea. But because I was a good friend, when everyone asked why he wasn't at school for a week, I said we got drunk off of a shot of every bottle in my parents' liquor cabinet, so nothing looked empty, climbed a tree in my backyard, and that he fell and landed on the fence. This is the first time I've ever told anyone this story.